sorry, I cannot continue with this discussion. May you please all have a good evening.
How many single women do we have? If you to go
how many do we have?
There are a lot.
I saw a post she went and made saying that we were cavemen. I would like to ask her how we are cavemen.
You're trying to make me stand by my word, but you're not also standing by your word.
What are famous for keeping grudges.
But yet feminism is saying everyone is allowed to cry.
Okay. So we will not cry in front of you. Forget.
At the end of the day, there are various definitions of feminism.
They wonder, why don't men like me? I'm pretty, I'm successful with their career woman and so on. They get to 38, they realize that they are even losing more men who are interested in them.
Yes, you want evidence of those people that are depressed and think that, I'm a 30 because I was chasing away men.
Yes, one in 4 women at least, especially in America.
You sideline them.
You're not answering a question.
No. For me, it's defying traditions and defying
definition. There is an official understanding of what feminism is, and now you are saying that defying odds is feminism.
That's why I'm telling you
that what your friend is doing here. It's called the need to be right.
Because feminism cannot be put in a box.
Your standard or the dictionary's standard?
You see. Now,
I love my African sisters. I love all of you guys, no matter what it looks like.
I thought you were going to say I'm going to come back and marry a Zimbabwean woman.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still discussing this hot topic about feminism in Africa. I like where this is going.
What I wanted to ask her in the beginning was, what exactly does she define as a patriarchy? What the thing that she says she wants to smash, what exactly is that?
For me, patriarchy, it's something that puts men at a pedestal, like putting men at a pedestal. I'm not saying men are bad, but I'm saying the structures within the society that sidelines women and puts women at the margins and centralizes men as being the bigger decision makers. And like I said, women can also be drivers of patriarchy. Patriarchy is not about male or female, because we have an atete who actually abuse women. We are scrambling as women. We're actually scrambling for the little authority, for the little power, for the little whatever. And at the end of the day, we end up also being drivers of patriarchy and sidelining other women in the process. So it's very important that we understand that smashing patriarchy, it is nothing to completely destroy men. Like I was talking about African feminism, about our mothers. They did not hate men. They loved their men, but still they rose above adversity without hating their men, without whatever and stuff.
There's a problem with what you're saying, Clariss. The evidence, because I was going to ask you before you left, when you said when you go on these panels of empowered people, you hear these stories from women.
It's not empowered people. Women empowerment stakeholders. We're trying to empower women who are disempowered.
I know. It's just semantics. I understand, but I'm trying to just say, when you hear more of the women's side of the mistreat, which
we also sit with the men,
which kind of comes to the issue. We have a patriarchy. We need to obviously dismantle because we hear all these bad things. The other thing that you might not be considering is it's not in our nature as men to say that we have been violently assaulted by our women at home or we have been emasculated. Because when we tell our friends or other men that, we are often met with ridicule. Other women will also laugh. It's a joke. The environment does not allow men to actually come out and say all the horrible things that women do. The problem that we now have is we have 100 stories of men being said that are doing certain things, and maybe 10 that men are just admitting, but we also have another 90, or if we have equally toxic partners in the households. The problem that we tend to have is now most of the people that will just hear this will just naturally assume women are saints in the houses and men are the problem, which is usually what I don't like. Then there's the other thing that even Speedo was talking about, that when we have, yes, a man left his wife and he went and did something there. most of what we know of is we usually at the outside. We have no idea how those people communicate behind closed doors. We don't even have any idea of what the woman does also to the men to get to a point where it's like, I'm going to go out there. We don't know if she's denying him sex for something petty every night. We have no idea of all those things. But we make conclusions that just because we can clearly see the guy went out and did something, he's the evil guy in the relationship. Yes, women will say that. But what I'm trying to say is the patriarchy that you talk of, you have to obviously clearly define it. I understand what you said when you say feminism is for equal opportunities. That you and I can agree. Let's give women equal opportunities to get into things. But we are not looking for equal outcomes because that is not even remotely possible. You can't have both things. And let me explain
one of the challenges that we have is that I've sat with a man who does something sexist, and then the next moment they're like, why do women hate?
Did you say you've slept with someone who?
I've sat with a man who does something sexist, you see, and then the next moment they're like, why do women hate men? And then the next moment they're like, oh, there's this double standards for us men. They expect us to take, it's very strenuous. They don't allow us to cry. But yet feminism is saying everyone is allowed to cry. Everyone is allowed to express their emotions. That's my definition of feminism. At the end of the day, there are various definitions of feminism.
That's wrong. Men should not cry. That is very wrong. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you the reason why I'm saying that. Sorry, before you come in, Vincent. Yeah. The reason why I say that is we never take any advice, dating advice from you women, because you have no idea what you're talking about.
What you want.
Number one, you say you want a guy that can cry, and if he does that long enough, you lose all attraction for him, and it still doesn't help him. So we will not cry in front of you. Forget.
Yeah. And also, just piggybacking on what you were saying, Dumi, about the dynamics between male and female relationship. You see, the thing that you are calling the patriarchy is not an idea that some man in a mountain constructed and you say, you know what, for us to dominate these women, let's make up this system where we have all the power and they don't have any power and we can subjugate them and make them do whatever we want. No. There is social evolution that happens. How we got to this dynamic where most men are the one, number one, they do the most dangerous jobs. They are the ones that set up these electricity cables everywhere. 98% of work accidents that lead to death or serious injury
are men. They're not fighting to get into those jobs. They want the cushy office jobs.
In these Western countries where there is snow, you see men do the snow shoveling, the most dangerous work, the things that women, number one, are unwilling to do or because of physical defects are unable to do. They do those things. And from the beginning, because remember, we did not just start to live in this internet-powered world. When we were cavemen, when people didn't have decent housing or when civilization didn't start, men were taking responsibility to do all those things. If you look at the greatest accomplishments of mankind, the monuments that we have right now, from the pyramids in Egypt to the roads that and the bridges that the Romans built, all that work was done by men. Now, what I'm saying here is the dynamics that exist now between men and women were not constructed by anyone that you can say we can just smash them. They were built from generations of experience to know that, okay, what happens if a woman stays at home and takes care of the kids and the man goes and work and brings on money? What happens if that happens? And they figure out with time that that's a better dynamic than to have the opposite or a mixture between the two. The reason why right now most women are complaining about relationships and stress and all these other problems, depression and so on, is because of this drive to remove a socially evolved system that worked for a long time. That they think they can just social engineer and replace it with some new idea that is untested. Now, I'll tell you this. There are some women who are staunch. You girls, you are lightweight feminists compared to some of the things that we see. There are some women who are so feminist that they will say, okay, I'm not even getting in a relationship with a man because that is subjugation. Yeah. So I'll just go to a sperm bank, get myself pregnant, raise a baby. If they do, some women actually consider raising a baby.
Choice. It's called choices. It's called making a choice.
Okay.
And also,
let me finish my point. So we have women who do that, but in the end, because of some of the stances that they take, I'm not going to date a man who does that. A man should treat me this way and that way and so on. They have these new ideas about how dating and dynamics between men and women should be done, that they end up getting to 30. They are not married. They wonder, why don't men like me? I'm pretty, I'm successful with their career woman and so on. They get to 38, they realize that they are even losing more men who are interested in them. To the point where they are depressed and they regret the choices that they have made. So why I'm saying this is because the patriarchy that you are saying that you want to destroy is a proven system of how we got here.
And besides, the patriarchy, as it is being said, in Zimbabwe, our own country, you know, we talk about all these things that men have done.
We want evidence of those women that are depressed and think that, you know, I'm at 30 because I was chasing away men.
Yes, one in 4 women, at least especially in America, is getting married. Black women. Most of these women are actually on antidepressants. 80% of them are obese because they are mentally not in any way able to take care of themselves physically. They don't work out. They don't do anything. The reason why we say the things we say is...
Oh, by the way, what Dumi just mentioned is a study that was done at the University of Chicago. If you want me to send you the abstract of that,
I think no, Mr. Dumi and Vincent, I think these ladies would also want to have examples from Africa or Zimbabwe.
No, listen. The reason why we are saying this is because the things that they are trying to get to happen in Zimbabwe, they started from somewhere. America was once in the place where Zimbabwe was, and they pushed those ideologies to where now we can really see them in full work, and we can tell they are not helping. They're actually hurting. So that's why we use America to say
that Africans can say this is not for us. You know, we've got the African Charter on Rights, right? Then there are rights that we had to design something for the African Charter for Rights for Children. But
the thing is, listen, I heard her saying there's African feminism, there's American feminism, and this and that. That is a very big lie. Human nature is the same wherever you go. Men will want the same thing wherever you find them. Women want the same thing, at least at the core level. You guys want to be taken care of the same way American women want to be taken care of. And men still want sex and everything that we talk of physiologically in America and in Zimbabwe. So this whole issue, I can understand that there is rights that really still need to be afforded to women in Africa that already in America, they've already gotten that. But what we are trying to say is fast forward that process. You're going to end up with way less marriages.
And by the way, we do agree that everyone deserves equal opportunity. We do agree that everyone deserves.
Why do you think marriages? Because tired. Women are fed up.
I can't hear you.
Can you say that again?
I was saying the reason why we're going to have marriages and why we have a lot of feminism is because now women are fed up and women are tired. So at the end of the day,
what? The reason why we are having very little success in marriages now is because men have been able to civilize the world to a point where most women don't even think they need men to survive. Yeah. In the West now, because we have all these welfares, we have all these other things that a woman can sit and say, I actually do not need a man. Things in Africa that you could, it's a very big luxury. My mom could not easily say.
Okay. I think in America, right, because there's so much civilization that's taking place, right? We've got a lot of, women that are not getting married at before 30, okay? They get to 32 or 38, whatever. But in Africa, it's not really about us taking on feminism. Really, feminism hasn't really encroached in Africa as much. And not a lot of women have actually taken up feminism in Africa or embraced feminism.
It's not practical. It's not practical in Africa right now. You can't say I don't need a man in Africa. You can't say that.
But despite it not
people
being
can actually say that.
Anyone
can actually say that.
You can say that and go hungry.
How can I go hungry? How can I go hungry?
Really?
No, the problem is, wait. The problem is you're bringing...
Wait. Clariss, you are not being fair to Speedo. She was still saying something. Speedo, can you finish up? And then we'll move on.
Speedo, sorry.
I was just saying, Kuti, at the end of the day, in America, yes, civilization has made it seem as if, women can survive without men. But in Africa, when we look at it, feminism hasn't grown to that extent where we're like, okay, we can live without men. Ours, when we look at it as feminism, we're saying, okay, fine, at least I've got an opportunity. I can also go to our local electrical company and then also wear my work suit and also do that and work in electricity because I need to go and provide because the father is not there. So unfortunately, unlike in America, our view in Africa is probably totally different. So I think we're going to continue clashing because in Africa, it's totally way different from it is in America.
Which brings me back, Speedo, guys, listen, which brings me back to the very first question I asked. Remember, we haven't really fully articulated that. I said, what would be the outcome? Because I know Africa hasn't fully embraced that. So what would be the outcome if we embrace it? I mean, we have evidence from Western countries looking at us as Africa. If we embrace this feminism, what will become of us? Or maybe we can speak of Zimbabwe since we have more.
Can I just say something? You guys? Because when I speak of feminism, I'm talking from it like from an African point of view, from a woman who's had experience in both the West and in Africa. I've had my experience in Norway. I've been exposed to what white people do there. And you guys actually, like, as the more you talk, the more I see that we are not getting anywhere. I actually mentioned within whatever I said, I actually mentioned that I want the type of feminism that does not hate men. And I also said, remember, the second time, I also said that feminism, we can't put feminism in a box because we have various types of feminism. We have radical feminists, we have Christian feminists, we have different, and they have accepted, they subscribe to certain views within feminism. And here you are rambling about Western feminism, Anjitika, and you certain facts about obesity and stuff, blah, blah, whatever. I don't mean to disrespect you guys, but it's as if I'm an alien in whatever you're speaking about. I've become an alien. I don't even understand what you're talking about because it's not the type of feminism that I subscribe to personally.
Okay.
And
so I think I get it now. You see,
can she define what's different though about African and Western feminism? I don't know anything.
That's why I said there are various, like in feminism, we have Marxist feminists, we have socialist feminists, we have radical feminists, we have all sorts of feminists, and these are a lot of people who subscribe to feminism.
These are Western. Yes. I want to hear how it's
different
in Africa. That's my question.
And we have Christian, like I was saying, and you said there's nothing peculiar about what I was saying because my mother was supposed to do whatever she was.
All right, hold on a second. I think. You see, I mentioned, my second time speaking, that I think we are talking about two completely different things. You seem to be more fixated on the problems that women encounter in Africa, and you are proposing solutions. And some of those solutions you are classifying as feminism. But from hearing you speak, everything that you said, if you would say it in a feminist group in the United States, in Canada, and so on, they would think that you are not even a feminist at all. This thing that you are saying,
I've actually said that in a group of feminists in the Western world, in Sweden, in whatever, and they actually understand me, especially women who identify themselves as indigenous women in wherever they come from. They actually understand the type of feminism that I speak of. They actually embrace the type of feminism which I'm talking about. That's all I can say right now.
The problem we're having here also with Clariss is it's a deflection tactic. You're not defining, and you're using words and using new different definitions that we all of us have never heard of. You can't say a mother taking care of her kid is feminism, and then we ask you what you mean, and you just say you don't even address that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The same thing you are doing, the same thing I'm doing is the same thing you are doing. That's why we are not even understanding each other.
What word have I given a new definition? That would be the very same thing that you're doing. What word have I given a new definition?
in the way that we are trying to explain to you our experiences, and you brush them, you sideline them.
You're not answering a question.
No.
Clariss. You're not answering my question. Answer my question.
I don't think I've brought in a new word.
Words mean things. Listen, words mean things.
I don't think I've brought in a new word.
Feminism. No,
I don't.
What does feminism mean when you're saying your mom
you said they are
took care of
kinds.
kids? And also, I asked you to define African feminism. You have not done, and you gave me Marxism, feminist, and this and that. Define African feminism. I'm trying
to explain to you that feminism is broad. I'm trying to explain to you that feminism is a broad
on the African
concept.
Feminism. Let's zero in on that one.
And also remember, Admire read the definition of feminism, the official one. It didn't say anything about being broad. You are the one that is saying that is broad in your understanding.
Now I'm telling you, like,
that is not feminism.
That's a dictionary definition of feminism.
Yes, because words mean something and they have to be defined.
Things.
And the other thing is, the things that you are saying are feminism. Are just general good behavior we expect of everyone in society.
It's not general good behavior. In this African side of life,
you mentioned your mom. You mentioned your mom and how she was taking care of you, right?
I mentioned how she made sure that we got the best education, despite the fact that people expected her to marry us off by the time we're supposed. There are expectations within Africa.
So that's why I said that's good behavior. How is that feminism?
It's not. It's not good behavior. It's good behavior, but it's feminism in the sense that she defied odds. She defied tradition. Tradition which did not allow us. Which did not allow girls to go to school.
Are you saying that feminism is defying odds?
Yes, it's defying. It's defying traditions and defying cultural behaviors that
you see why Dumi was saying that you are making your own definitions up here. We actually read an official definition. There is an official understanding of what feminism is. And now you are saying that defying odds is feminism.
That's why I'm telling you that you cannot put feminism in a box.
No, we're not trying to do that. We are not trying to do that.
Let me say something to Speedo. Maybe she might understand us. You see what your friend is doing here? It's called the need to be right. She can't just say, no, listen, I made an error there. She will have to try to whistle. Do you hear all the mental gymnastics? She's trying to just find a definition for feminism. This is what men deal with. And you guys will just say, no, she was a good woman in the marriage. And if you're talking to a woman and she's making you feel so confused about something as simple as there's a definition of feminism.
I'm trying to explain to you that definition is not the standard, because feminism cannot be put in a box.
Your standard or the dictionary's standard?
You see, now there is your opinion, right? And then there are facts. There is things you can choose to understand things.
The problem is that you also think that whatever you think is fake. I don't know you guys. You can proceed. Say whatever you have to say.
Vincent, wait. She thinks we are cavemen. I saw a post she went and made saying that we were cavemen. I would like to ask her how we are cavemen.
So you actually thought you were cavemen. So this is what I posted on my state.
She said both of us are cavemen or something like that.
On my status, I wrote that yesterday I had a conversation with a bunch of cavemen who actually believe that women are not supposed to be ambitious. That's what I wrote. And someone actually
to me.
I don't know whether you think it was you. If you think it was you, then congratulations, you have graduated to become caveman.
Clariss, stand by it. Don't weasel out of it. If you say it, stand by it.
Are you the only man that I had conversations with that day?
Oh, okay. Was I a caveman?
I don't know. You have to ask yourself whether you're a caveman or not.
Yeah. You see, this is exactly what men deal with. People that cannot argue with you and formulate actual debates.
If you say something, at least stand by what you say.
Stand by it.
Am I not standing? I actually wrote that I had a conversation with cavemen. I said it.
And here's another thing, right? You say that they don't believe that women should be ambitious. Do you believe that? Do you believe women should not be ambitious?
I believe women should
He
be
mentioned
ambitious.
it. He mentioned it in the previous. We
That
are going
women
to
should
see
not be
it
ambitious?
in the show. It's like women are not supposed to be. Guys, you said women are not supposed to be ambitious. That's what you said. You,
That's what you
especially
heard.
Dumisa.
That's
No,
what
that's
you
what
heard.
you. That's what you said. And you're also you're trying to make me stand by my word, but you're not also standing by your word.
What exactly did I say? Quote to me what I said.
Guys, I don't have the time and energy anymore.
Let's not deviate from the topic of the day, guys. Look, I understand the topics are getting heated up.
Sasi, your microphone is muted. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't want to just cut in because you guys kept on cutting each other, so I was waiting for an opportunity.
No, but Speedo, you were there. Did you hear us say women should not be ambitious?
All right, guys. For starters, I'm not going to get into your. I will not. I am going to stand right here because
you know what that means.
This is what women do. When another woman is off the rails, you guys will not correct her. This is really what we. That's really what gets us annoyed as men. Because if he said something, I would correct him.
Yumi, for starters, why I'm not going to comment is because you guys saw her status and you thought it was you guys.
I didn't answer until now.
She didn't answer.
So if she didn't answer, I can't then come in and then defend you because she hasn't said yes. Talking about you.
Don't defend us. Tell us what you heard. Did you hear me say women cannot be ambitious? That's what I asked you. I didn't say you have a referendum or not.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyway, Admire had said, you know what? What's going to happen to Africa if the type of feminism that's in the West comes to Africa?
You. Finally, we are back to the topic.
That's why I was really trying to say, okay, guys, go back to the topic. I think basically, a lot of things that change, right? When that happens, a lot of culture.
Yeah. We're struggling to hear you now, Speedo.
I think network it'll break.
Diluted. Okay, culture will be diluted. Though we have both good and bad culture, if feminism gets to the extremes of where it's gotten to the West. And another thing that is, we don't have infrastructure as much as the West. So as much as we might want to embrace it in Africa so much as the West, and if we embrace it before we have so much of that infrastructure and some of if we're financially stable and we don't have inflation and all that, it's going to be very difficult for feminism then to be, given a lot of fuel, because at the end of the day, as much as we all want to get jobs, we already face the fact that, in Africa, employment is not really something that is there for everybody, male and female. So if we're going to get to that stage, it is in the West. I think women will double.
You can continue.
Yeah, I'm done. I don't want to say much because that's what I feel.
Speedo, what you're saying, I think, is the conversation we should have been having. And it is good to be honest. I'll tell you this. I think feminism, yes, it's not possible to have it the way it is in the West. I'm pretty sure that's kind of the goal for most people that are trying to get there. But there's another question that we have. I love my African sisters. I love all of you guys, no matter what it looks like. I mean this genuinely. I have a bunch of actual goals. If I am wildly successful, I would like to come back and obviously help people as much as I can, and that includes women. I'm not going to be picking up boys.
I thought you were going to say I'm going to come back and marry a Zimbabwean woman.
Me too. I was waiting for that. And I actually thought
I wanted to caution you strongly.
Whoa, let's not go down that rabbit hole. But my thing is, though, I've seen it's like you can't have one thing without the other. Clariss, this is what I believe, and you've probably seen it in some way. When you have extreme feminism, or at least when it grows to a point where it goes, certain things in society start showing up. Divorce rates and all these things, they follow some kind of women independence like that. Not because feminism really already causes that, but there's a certain nature in which if you have a relationships are always going to be hard. And I think as people, we are almost kind of geared to get out of a relationship the minute it gets hard. when you have men and women at an equal point of saying, no, screw this, the data at least is showing us that women are more likely to say we're walking away than guys do. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the reasons can be why that is happening. So you are going to have to deal with a society of single parents and kids that grow up in single parent households. And that is a reality that Africa at least will face if feminism really gets to a place where it's like in the West.
And like I was saying before, I think if you were in Sweden and you were saying all these things that you are saying right now about what you believe in feminism, there are some feminist groups, of course, it differs with intensity, that the things that you are saying you believe, like my mom did this, she took care of us, they wouldn't take it as feminism, or they wouldn't take it as a good thing. Some of them wouldn't. That's what I'm saying. My point is, it can graduate, it gravitates. So the feminists that started this movement in the United States in the 60s together with the civil rights movement, those ones are very different with the feminists that we have now. Why? Because there is evolution that happens when a movement is carried forward past its objective. What they wanted to accomplish back then was just
already accomplished. Yeah.
So instead of disbanding and saying, congratulations, ladies, we did it, let's go back and go on with our lives. They can't do that because there are incentives that trap them into continuing doing that. You believe this now, you are probably the first generation feminist in our culture, but you give birth to your daughter, she is going to, whatever you are saying as a problem, like for example, girls not being allowed to carry forward when they are pregnant, that could be solved in Zimbabwe. But they are going to look for another issue and another issue and another issue until we reach a point of diminishing returns where their efforts are actually leading to retrogression than progress.
So how do we know when feminism is not needed anymore? Probably is the question.
Okay, I think
there's always a new problem. There's always a new problem.
Okay. I think also want to come in. I need to hear her. She hasn't spoken in a while. Beauty, want to come in?
Are we saying because of the perceived outcomes, we shouldn't fight for our rights?
No. Here's what I'm saying, really. Here's what I'm saying. You see, the things that make women in general happy, or that make women equal in terms of opportunities, they don't need a name. Those are just human rights. The things that feminists are claiming, this feminist and so on, they are already in the Bill of Rights by the African Union. Like they should be, right now in Zimbabwe, there's the day of the girl child. The day of the girl child is there. No day of the boy child, nothing. But anyway, I digress. The things that we require to have equal opportunities between genders, they are already there. There's no need for extra movements. But what happens is when we engage this extra movement for this and that and so on, they take up a form of their own with different incentive structures that enable them to carry forward even to the point of diminishing returns, like I'm saying. So we don't need to call it feminism or anything. We just need to call it human rights. They are human rights. Nobody should beat up another person if you're married. Remember, it's already illegal.
It's illegal.
So there's no need for coalitions to form, because once coalitions form like that, the same thing that is happening in the United States will happen in Zimbabwe at a certain point. So how do you know that feminism is bad, no matter what you call it? You look at the progression and the results it gets to. So it has to be nipped in the bud right now.
But at the end of the day, we are still going to have problems that exist. That's why we're still having the feminist movement. And also this, like what I dislike about feminism as well, is that there are a lot of double standards. I remember seeing a post with this person who identifies as they, them, and she was born, her assigned gender at birth was female. So she used one of those bathrooms, where people can just get in. It doesn't have male or female. So she was offended that a guy walks in and starts doing his business while she was there, while they were there. And then she also gets offended that yes, that they also get offended that another guy stood out and waited for her for them to finish their business. And so for me, it's very confusing. Like, you're having all these double standards. You're angry at this man for doing this, and you're also getting angry at another man who actually respected you, or that man. So that's why sometimes I have challenges with feminism.
Okay, Sassy, you can go ahead.
I'm going to go to what you were saying, Vincent. Basically, in other words, feminism doesn't really need to continue with that name because it becomes a monster at the end of the day.
Becomes a team sport.
Yeah. Yes, there's incentives that go with it. So certain people are pushing a particular agenda and not looking at the ramifications that come with feminism. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And you see this in a lot of things. Think about what we want women to have, or what we want human beings to have. We want women to have equal opportunities. The same opportunities a boy will have is the same opportunities a girl should have. To go to university, to be educated, to know that it's just a matter of what she chooses to do, not because of systematic structures that prevent her to do something. We all want that. But those things, in Zimbabwe at least, they are already guaranteed in the constitution. If you refuse to send your daughter to school, the police would be at your door. It's illegal not to do that in Zimbabwe. But some of the barriers that we have are just more ideological rather than legal. So what I'm saying is we don't need to call it feminism. Because once that is taken, you are taking already the ideology also. And remember, you're saying these things are coming with non-governmental organizations.
Up, Steph. Yeah.
They have their own agendas of what they are trying to.
Feminists have double standards.
Yeah, that's why we don't need them.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary organizations. What we need is human rights. Why? Because in the end, we are all humans. But once you are part of an elite group, you feel like you are special and you feel like you are entitled to something that other people are not. And that inherently is what is sexist in the end. That's why I was saying that why don't we have the day of a boy child? Because the ills that we see in our society that are happening to women, they are not really because the society hates females in general. But it's just that our society hasn't caught up to that point where there is a lot of awareness for those things. That awareness doesn't need to come from feminism. It just has to go through the judicial processes that we go through whenever we want to, achieve some social progress.
Speedo, you got an objection?
No, not really. Almost just trying to also walk in the same way that he's working, because I'm really getting to understand, because what I'm trying to avoid is for us to spiral into that other previous discussion that we were having, right? Because right now I believe we're walking in the right direction. I think also like what you're saying, whereby instead of some of the issues, for example, that I was giving, for example, of bad behavior that was happening. I think as Africa, instead of calling it a situation where we are saying this is feminism, as women, we are fighting for equal rights because of A, B, C, D. Let's look at it and address it as abuse or in its direct.
It's already illegal. Those things are already addressed.
Putting it into feminism and then advocating it in feminism, because when we advocate it in feminism, it becomes a bigger monster than what we can really sit down and talk about it. When we sit down and talk about it with gender-based violence, it's much better, and we can actually talk about it amicably without making it become...
Yeah, there's also, before that, I want to mention something that is parallel to what we are saying. So there's parts where you were saying, Clariss, that this is an African type of feminism and so on. You see, communism itself, when they were transporting it from the Eastern countries and part of the Western coalitions to bring it to Africa around the time when they were trying to get rid of colonialism, they couldn't just come with it and say we are instituting communism or Marxism. They called it PanAfricanism.
Come with a nice name.
Yeah, because they wanted to customize it to fit the African context for it to be acceptable. But that didn't change what it really was. It was still communism. It's a very inefficient way of running an economy. And that is part of the reasons why most African countries post-independence, they struggled. And we are still struggling. And some of those Marxist and communist ideas, they are still engraved in our politics and in our governments, that we are still suffering from that. But that's what happens when you transport a Western idea that is already failing and you say, okay, let's give it an African spin and customize it. Here's the thing that I love about the truth. The truth is coherent and it's consistent. What it means is at every stage, it should still be true. If feminism is true at stage 1, and if we go to stage 5 and it has horrible results, it means that the stage 1 was not showing the greater symptoms of it being wrong. So what I want to get rid of is just the idea of entertaining feminism in Africa before it gets to the point of what we are seeing in Canada and in England. And
you know what's really wrong? What's really wrong about feminism? If someone was to say, yo, you guys can't, the two of you guys are saying feminism is wrong, and everyone I hear talk about even on TV and everyone says it's right, you guys are obviously missing something. The reason why I think, and I probably think also Vincent thinks feminism is wrong, is because the way that it's being packaged since 2012, the fourth and the final wave of feminism, especially in the West, which ultimately will be exported to Africa very fast, is they do not believe in equal opportunities. That's not what they believe in.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about equal opportunities, meaning if I come, I'm looking for a job, and someone comes,
they actually equal think equal opportunity is the patriarchy.
Yeah. So, like, if we're to say someone actually has the same qualifications, or at least is better qualified, regardless of them being a man or woman, a better positioned person should be able to get the job. But what these people are believing in is trying to do something called restorative justice. To say because you guys have abused certain women back in the day, didn't allow them to vote or anything. So now today we're going to punish people today that had nothing to do with what happened in the past to try to have some sort of justice today. Obviously, we can figure that doesn't work. The problem now is they will say you have to admit so many women in your company so that we kind of achieve some feminist goal or something, which means some other guy that had nothing to do with feminists before, that has been working hard his whole life and that is well qualified for a job, is not going to get it because some girl that supposedly is just the right person that movement is looking for at that time will get the job. That is obviously not equal opportunity. But the reason why they're doing that is because they're looking for an equal outcome. To say at the end of it, we want to have equal men and women in this type of job. Now, that's a very bad idea. The reason why it's a bad idea is because you can't have both of those things. You either can have equal opportunities, and when you have freedom for people to be able to get a job and work as hard as they can and they get in, you're obviously not going to have equal outcomes. When you have equal outcomes, it means you're taking freedom from other people that could have had a job. That's the big reason that most of these left-leaning, especially feminist, as it is defined now, is bad about.
I wanted to reaffirm what Dumisani said first and foremost. I want to say that I'm always bothered by the fact that we are saying we want equal opportunities for women, but then these people are actually laughing at our faces, actually laughing at us women who actually put effort in trying to get better opportunities for ourselves and choosing substandard women, so that they can just fit the ideal of saying we are involving women, we are including women. It actually annoys me. And then, like, when you say if women had the same power as men, I think if women were given the same opportunities as men, and men were actually the ones who are suffering right now, or are the ones who are being raped and stuff, I think would actually have something equivalent to feminism, but run by men, and would actually have the same problems we are having right now, because we wouldn't understand what men go through, and we would be saying, hey, we are in power and stuff. I think it would be vice versa. For me, it would be vice versa, and men would actually be having their own movement.
Okay, all right. That is ridiculous. There is political power, then there is commercial power. And I would argue that commercial power is much more,
a lot more, yeah,
bigger. It's a lot more influential than now. There's a study that they did at UCLA, at University of California. They showed that when it comes to purchasing decisions, like how to spend money in households, women had about 80% say and power about purchasing decisions. So what we're saying here is a dynamic where most men, like a man is bringing home money, and what is spent on that money is something that most women get to decide. And even if people are not married, most men use their money in a certain way. A woman is, to please women, to satisfy a woman, or somehow to cater for a woman. And that commercial power is much more bigger. Why? Because the biggest economy and the economies and the most influential economies also have the biggest political power. You're talking about the United States, the Western countries, right? So in those free market economies, if the women are deciding what gets bought, what to spend money on, they effectively have power even to influence what happens with politics. Right now, I'll give you an example. In the United States, the women in the previous election, especially women of color, they voted overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. And part of the reason is because of all these programs, social welfare programs, and these programs that give people
women love
rights.
Programs,
and also as a way to rebel against sexist Donald Trump and so on and so forth. So because of those dynamics, women do have power. So saying that if women had power as much as men is assuming that women don't have power. Women do have power. Right now, at an international level, we have less women in powers where they can decide whether to engage in military action than we had in the past, and we have more peace than at that time. So I know the idea is that women are going to be reserved and not succumb to violent activity because men are aggressive, but that's actually the opposite. Think about it this way. You girls, you have had the best friend since you were 9, and one day when you were 17, she just messed you up. Now you are 30, you have never even said a word to her. You are famous for keeping grudges and being temperamental. Like, I can easily imagine a world where all the heads of state are women, and what is going to prevail are just emotional decision making. Part of the reason why I brought up this thing about women having commercial power is because most of purchasing decisions are done emotionally. And that's why women kind of like take over that arena. If you give them political power, look at the women that are in power right now. Angela Merkel, she left, but she was in Germany for many years. What was her political ideology? What was she believing? She was very left-leaning. Most of her policies leaned towards violence rather than non-violence.
Okay.
So we already have an example of an actual woman who, was in power. Look at in the United States, most women with the most political clout are the ones that usually advocate for things that cause division and things that cause distress among people and families than the opposite.
Okay. I think just as we round up, because we're already over the time here, I was supposed to cut off like 10 minutes ago, but I'm just going to give each Speedo, Beauty, and maybe Dumi to just give me in brief. I think I'll give you 60 seconds tops to just give me your final conclusion of what you think the outcomes of feminism will be and your opinion, just to seal and close this discussion. Speedo, you're up.
Okay, I think feminism will really cause a lot of chaos in Africa if it gets to this extent that it is in the West. And I just believe that as people, we need to sit back and make our own identity as Africans, where we push our own agendas that affect us as Africans. We get certain things corrected within our society, within our government, so that we do not repeat the same problems that we're seeing in the West. So let's use those guys as a template to make sure that we don't have the same problems that we have in Africa.
All right, great. Beauty, what's your last words? I think you're muted. All right.
I still think I still stand with the fact that to create fairness between the male and the females.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You ready to go home, Beauty?
Yes.
All right then. Before I go to Clariss, Mr. Vincent, last words.
Oh, I think feminism is a terrible idea to begin with, and it's something that African women should run away from like the plague.
All right. Today I want to close with Clariss. So Dumi, you go.
Okay. Well, I think feminism, if we don't learn from what has happened in the West, then we are not necessarily wise. The smartest guy does not learn from his mistakes. He learns from the mistakes of others. You look at what's happened in the West, try to take the best aspects of what feminism has brought, which is equal opportunity, but you leave the equal outcomes out of it.
Thank you. Clariss, last words?
Any last words for me? I have a lot of things to say.
You say some of them on your post, right?
Please,
Number one.
Please,
let me just say what I have to say. Number one, you're not the only caveman that I have conversations with my entire life. Number two,
is just reciprocal.
Oh, so you confirm they're cavemen.
Jesus, just feel it.
She finally admitted it at least.
Number two, I didn't mean to offend you guys. You're such a bunch of cute little people and meaningful.
First of all, stop being patronizing. And number two, we're not offended by words. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
We have enough self-esteem to go with.
Number three, I think I've been accused of doing things that certain people are privy of doing simply because they are male. Number four, I believe that feminism has its good and has its bad. And the only thing we should adopt is that we should just ensure that we emancipate our girls, emancipate our women, and see to it that they don't end up dependent to, that's just it.
All right. Thank you so much for taking your time. I really appreciate it. I think we've lost Lorraine there, but we're happy that we had this wonderful and awesome discussion together.
Ladies and gentlemen, can be friends, bro.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think can be friends.
Finally.
Yeah, we should be best of friends. I'm telling you, we could be good friends. We would slaughter people together. I'll do the bearing.
Partners in crime. All right then. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the discussion about feminism in Africa. If you have different views or perhaps you want to support or disagree, let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to like and share this premiere. Till we meet again, goodbye for now.
We are a full-service advertising agency with intentional creators who deliver innovative solutions, remarkable brands, and highly thoughtful experiences. AD Media provides a full-service brand and experience packages from start to finish. Whether your start is a blank canvas or a heritage in need of modernization, we also offer single service if you're not into that. From inspiration to execution, we develop the best ideas into projects and campaigns that allow small businesses and big corporations to effectively market their products, services, and events. To ensure successful advertising, we use quite a number of techniques, which include market research, conceptualizing, analysis, and evaluation. We execute every project and campaign with an 8-step process that delivers effective and strategic ideas in a short time frame. Whether you want to market a product, a service, a company, an event, or even you yourself, we will begin the marketing process by first establishing your target market audience and your goals. Whether you want to increase sales, improve customer experiences, or become the leader in your industry. So where are you going? Tell us, and we will show you how you can get there. For more information, contact the numbers appearing on your screen for a free consultation, and it will take it from there.